Hello. Today we are going to explore some of the basic things you can do in 123D design. If you look at the top where my cursor is, you'll see the toolbar. This will show you some of where the basic functions are in 123D, such as sketching, grouping, combining, measuring, snapping. If we go back over here to the primitives, these are basic shapes. So the box, the sphere, cone, cylinder, these are the basic shapes that we will use to construct everything. If you click on one, you can bring a shape to your grid. So go ahead and bring down some of the different shape options. It doesn't matter the ones that you choose, but try to choose an example of most of them to bring down to your grid. These are your basic shapes that you'll use to create everything. If I click on my left cursor and hold down, I can rotate around my screen or orbit. I can also choose the button on the side to orbit my screen around if I need to get a different view of what I am working on. You can also use the box in the corner to orbit as well. I'm just clicking and holding and it is going to turn around my screen. If I just want to see the top, I'll click on the top. If I just want to see the front or the left, I'll click on those. That little home button will take me back to the main screen. I can also zoom in and out with my mouse on the sort of roller cursor in the middle. I can zoom in and out of what I'm working on. If I click on this button here, I can zoom in and out without a cursor. Okay, so even if you have a mouse, if you don't have a mouse, you can click there to zoom in and out. If I click on pan, then I can move my screen left to right, back, forth, up, and down. This is really good if you sort of want to move your grid and center it a little bit more. I can click pan, hold it down, and I can move around my screen. So right now, we're going to work on moving objects independently. If you click on one object, you can just move it around. If you click and hold, you can move any object around. If you would like to delete, you can click on something and just press the delete button on your keyboard. So if you want to move multiple objects at once, drag and highlight. Click on the side, drag and highlight, and there is a button that says move. If I click on that, arrows will come up and I can move all the objects at one time. As you see, I'm moving it up and down. I'm moving it forwards or kind of left to right. And I'm also moving it to the side. If I click on that arrow, I can rotate them around in a circle as many degrees as I would like. You can see the degrees on the side. And if I click the middle, I can move it all sorts of directions. So if I need to move a lot of things at one time, you can highlight them, move them all at once, and then press the move button at the bottom. I can also do this with fewer objects. Just say I wanted to grab just two. I can just highlight those two, press move, and I can move them up and down. Now, if I just want to move one object, say I want to put this object closer to the grid, I can just highlight that one and also move that one closer to the grid as well, or any other way that I would like. So this is sort of the basic way you can move shapes around in 123D. Now we're going to look at some of the functions that are Now we're going to look at how to do some of the special functions in 123D. So I'm going to delete all of these. I'm going to highlight them and I'm going to press delete. And I'm going to go up and grab just a box. Now we're going to fill it around the corners of this box to sort of give it a softer edge. If I click on one of the edges, I can see a fillet button. Click that and I can type in 3. Let's say I want to fillet it by 3 millimeters. Now you can see that the edge is now rounded. Let's say I wanted to do all the edges at once. I can press shift and hold it and click on all of the edges on this cube at one time. If I press shift and hold and click around, I can get all of the edges. I'm going to find that fillet button again. If you use this arrow, you can see at the bottom that it's going in by a certain amount of numbers, and we want 3. I see that I have missed an edge, so I'm just going to get that edge really quickly. So you want to fillet all the edges of your cube by 3. And I can just type that in here, and we can fillet by 3. So now I have what looks a little bit more like a dice. So fillet is an option you would use if you want to round an edge. Now let's play with the materials a little bit. If you click on outlines only, everything in the middle is going to go away. If I click on materials and outlines, that will come back. And if I click on materials, all the lines will go away. So sometimes you might want an object and you don't want to see the edges of it. So that will be an option you would use. Now, let's say that you wanted to hide the grid. You didn't want to see the grid anymore. If you press this button on the side, the grid will go away. If I click it again, it will come back. Now, if I wanted to make my grid really big, let's say 1,000 by 1,000, it's automatically 360, but let's say you had a lot of things you were working on. I'm going to type in 1,000 for the width and also 1,000 for the height. Press OK. And if I orbit around, you should see I have a huge grid now. So my grid is much bigger than it is before. So these are some of the basic things you will need to get around 123D. Follow along and make sure you and your